Greetings, humans. It has been brought to my attention that many of you have been going to build.com and entering in the promo code Crowder15 for 15% off, and they've been sending Built Bars to the studios. This is a miscommunication because Built Bars are not good for dogs. Yes, they are keto friendly with the low carbs, and they have close to 20 grams of protein, but they also have real Belgian dark chocolate, which, as you know, are bad for dogs. And this is why I would request that you not go to built.com, but instead send garbage. Garbage is part of a balanced and fortified diet for all Joe Lewises and dogs. It has everything that a dog needs and does the body good, and it is much better for than a Built Bar. So no more Built Bars, even if you think they're delicious. Don't be selfish. Please just send garbage.
June 18th, Pikes Peak Center, Colorado Springs, Colorado, prepares for the funniest show on Earth.
Dude, the clock is completely wrong in your car. It says it's 1:08.
It's right to me.
It's 2:27.
Yeah, but it's 1:08 to me. Because I set it back for Kwanzaa.
That doesn't even make any, that doesn't...
Daylight Kwanzaa. Savings.
There's no, I just don't, this is an entirely useless, it's everything about this clock is wrong. It's an entirely useless clock.
It's Easter. Easter time.
Now you're just naming holidays.
Thanksgiving? Shabbos.
Hey, why don't you guys ever tell me to, I realize you never tell me to like fix my hair before I go on air.
I don't know what fix your hair looks like.
That's true. It just
run your fingers through it, and I'm like, oh.
It looks like
better.
A lady's been running her fingers through my hair.
Fabulous.
Not a lady.
No, an old lady.
Oh.
Yeah, an old lady. Did I ever tell you the story about that time at, by the way, hello. We'll be talking about, hey, I don't know if you can see that. That's the third rail, the Great Replacement Theory. We'll be talking about that today. So my question to you before anything else is, what do you think the Great Replacement Theory is? How do you think the leftist media is portraying it? And is there some truth to it? And can there be truth to it without it being racist? And I'm using the term the Great Replacement Theory because that's what they're coining it. But I'm going to be clear. It's not about race. It's not about even culture. It's about voting demographics. So let's be clear about that. We don't need to load it with race. There's an issue, and it's an issue of buying votes. So we're going to touch that today. And, look, if we get banned here on YouTube, if we do not tell you that we are not doing a show, that means that we are still live streaming. Rumble right now, and Mug Club. Today is Chat Thursday, an extra 45 minutes of show. I want to be done by 10:50 today because we're supposed to be done by 10:45, but we never actually make it.
That's true. We don't do it.
True.
And nothing would make me happier than for as many people from YouTube right now to just go over to Rumble, go over to Mug Club. You guys often complain about, like, well, why are you still on YouTube? Well, you can not be.
It's your fault.
So a seagull pooped on my head, Dave. And
that's good luck, they say.
Yes, Old Port, Montreal. And I used to have people thought my mom frosted my hair, which would be child abuse.
Yes, it would be.
She should just give me some estrogen injections.
They thought it was Frosty Tips?
Yes. Yes. They thought I was a member of 98 Degree.
Yes, you were in a boy band all of a sudden.
And this old lady at first, she goes, oh, yeah, they boast for, which means, oh, night. And she went and she touched my hair and got seagull crap all over her hand.
Oh, man. So that's how she died.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, she licked her. You don't have to lick your fingers
No,
afterwards.
that's true. It's not
Watching
KFC.
too many Colonel commercials. Nah. It's a finger lick. Someone took that too literally and they ended up with no fingers in them.
No, that's terrible.
All right.
I've been pooped on by a bird many times.
Yeah. Well, you're a very lucky guy.
Yeah,
Liberal bird.
As you know, I walk around with a parrot when I'm not on camera.
Yes.
You're Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. Well, I prefer to be called. Well, it's like, dude.
He prefers to be called
Jack Geese.
She Poops.
She poops.
Oh my gosh,
All over
Amber
me.
Heard. Did you watch Amber Heard yesterday? Okay. Anyway, so we have a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about the Great Replacement theory and how the left is portraying it. I think this is something that needs to be addressed, and unfortunately, you have people in hysterics on both sides. By the way, the Great Replacement theory started with and was presented as a virtue by the left. And you don't have to take my word for it. We have all references available today at louderscreditor.com and some history on immigration laws. And I don't know if you know who screwed it up. Professional driver Ted Kennedy.
Ah,
Yes.
Yeah.
King of the Oldsmobile.
Yes.
the first Uber.
Yes.
Yep. to get a 1-star review.
Baby, you can hide my car. All right.
Hold your
I
breath.
love it.
Yeah, it's great to drive Ted Kennedy with Ted Kennedy if you like the second underwater level of Super Mario. All
Yes,
right,
yes.
let's go to Gerald A. How are you?
I am well, sir. How are you?
I'm okay.
How's the
Yesterday,
neck? Yeah,
oh my
yesterday
gosh, it was so.
sucked.
You guys may not notice, but yesterday I was doing this a lot because
I thought you were just
It looked like I was
excited and
doing
leaning in.
the Sears catalog family portrait, but it was just because
From
I
the
couldn't
80s.
support my own neck. Oh gosh,
What do you like, the giraffe with a brace?
Yes, Jeffrey.
Jeffrey.
Step up with Jeffrey.
And
I still
then,
have that in my bathroom.
Do you?
No, but I should.
yeah, you should.
Sometimes I can't get the sink.
Why are you peeing in the sink? then?
You hear him, you know him, you love him. He's available. You can
brush,
follow him
the
on
brush.
Twitter at Landau Dave. And he and I will be in Colorado Springs June 18th. We added a second show. It's early because of how the venue works. I think it's like at 3:30. So there are some tickets left. Not many. We're letting you know right now because there are a lot of walk-ins and then they just won't be available. So that's our last show here.
Ahoy,
before-
hoy.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine.
How are you, Ahoy?
I don't know. It just fell out of my mouth while you were talking.
Ahoy, hoy.
Ahoy, hoy. I don't know cues.
Johnny Depp makes a really good gay pirate.
He does.
I actually realized...
Is Jack Sparrow gay?
Well, you
Yes.
just act, every character Johnny Depp does is kind of gay. I realize, though, Jack Sparrow, it's not
Mordecai.
that. I thought it was really more of a character. It's not. It's just Johnny Depp when he's drunk, when you listen to the
It
tapes.
really is.
It's
Yeah.
Keith Richards.
Yeah, I know, but it's Johnny Depp when he's drunk as
Correct.
well.
Yes.
If you listen to the tapes, he sounds like Jack Sparrow. He's talking to Amber Heard. He's, listen, you threw the door and you punched me. Don't tell me what it's like to be punched.
Stop running your lines.
That's all
They're
I
like,
know.
hey, can you come in and read for this? Yes, but I'm drunk. That
Yeah.
works perfect.
That works perfectly. Get him the earpiece. We'll be gold. Before all that, we're going to hit some heavy stuff here today. It's time to watch and react. Now, you've heard about the shoplifters all over the country. Mm-hmm. Most of them are Irish. And here's one that just happened recently. This is another...
Hoodlums.
Yes. Yes, those ne'er-do-wells.
Yes.
Good thing we can take care of them with a good old cop on his beat with his
Yeah.
billy club.
Potato eaters. You mean the Irish that take care of the Irish?
Yes, exactly. We're going to take out our own trash. So this happened at Best Buy, and this is another reason why, some jobs are not well suited to women. Here comes the robber. Now, hold on a second.
That wasn't bad. I mean, she tried to get in the way.
Did I say women? I'm sorry. That was a bad. What I meant to say was white women, because who can forget this?
Keep your feet moving. Move. Hands.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a woman?
Well, it was Moana grown up.
Oh, that's what I thought. Oh, wow.
And she just stopped. She was just like an old lineman, like, no.
That was impressive.
Yeah, that was really good.
Good for her.
Good for her. Honestly, I would love
Yeah.
to have her on the show.
Yeah.
She's like, you're racist. No, I love to see a black woman beat up a criminal. I don't care who's beating up the criminal.
I do too.
No, especially if it's a black woman, just because it's funny, because it's a woman.
Yeah.
And she's beating you up.
Yeah. And it's well deserved.
It's a good bouncer to have. It's like, all right, she'll throw you out.
Yes.
What happened? I got thrown at Buffalo Wild Wings by a lady.
Love how she threw him through the sign.
Yeah.
She just kept going and committed. Like, I've stopped you. No, you're going through the sign.
Yeah. She's like, it's a closeout sale, mother.
That's right.
He's like, oh, wow, that is he's going down. He's like, 30% off. That is a good deal.
Uncle, I think I pooped myself.
Oh, by the way, we need to admonish.
No.
Admonish Gerald
No.
because that Marine story yesterday on the porch.
No.
Turns out, admonish him.
No,
Turns out it wasn't real. It was staged.
Really?
That's
Put
what
it in
people are
there.
saying. Now, I will say this. We have never actually gotten a news story wrong.
Right.
The only things we've ever gotten wrong is where it's a clip that we think is really funny.
It's still really funny.
It's still, and you know
Yeah.
what? It's worth it.
Good performance, guys. You
It was
had me.
cathartic.
Oh.
It was
I
still
did
one of
not
the
know
funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Now, I told you guys about that clip. I couldn't find the video, though. That was the whole thing. Somebody else,
couldn't find the video.
independent from me, put it in there on their own. The-
Yeah, Gerald made the call. So.
Yeah, Gerald made the call.
I did not make the call at all. I didn't even promote it to anybody
Someone
else.
get Jocko Willink on the line. Extreme ownership.
Yes, somebody needs to own that they put that in there and it wasn't me.
Oh, he hasn't read the book. Okay.
No. It won't take you very long.
I'll read it at 4
You can
a.m.
slide it
don't
under
worry.
the door.
Yes.
4:08. My bad.
So here's something else again that is affecting you, right? And we'll talk about the great replacement theory
Admonish.
after you. Just no. The admonish is not to be used.
Sorry.
That way.
Not
In it, no, you don't use it willy nilly.
Rule is take responsibility.
You need to respect the admonish button, like Magnolia.
That's not fair at all.
Respect the admonish. Now, Dave's the only one who knows the one-word change in that line.
Yes.
So, not a good film. Gas prices, though, before we get to the great replacement. This is
Isn't it
affecting
like
all
raining
of you.
frogs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I
No one
forgot
cares but
about
me and
that.
you. Yeah.
That's a
But
horrible film.
I just did, I didn't think it was horrible, but then that happens and you're like, well, this is enough.
Yes. I think I can just go to bed early.
Yeah. Oh, good, great.
So gas prices around the country here, they're skyrocketing. And I believe what we have is a clip from CNN this morning, right? So this is something, I was watching CNN this morning, and by watching, I mean it was playing on my phone through a speaker in the shower. I have no time for myself in the morning. And I was getting mad in the shower because this just shows the disconnect. Again, the disconnect between you and those in media. So they acknowledge that we have record high gas prices. Now, that should be, we have record high gas prices.
Yeah.
And you should not be blamed for it. But CNN decides to come up with a solution, and it is as bad as it gets. This was just this morning, a couple hours ago.
The next looming crisis, fuel shortages. This is diesel prices skyrocket. Diesel right now at a record $5.58 a gallon today. And key tanks like these that you're seeing in New York Harbor, those tanks supply the Northeast, and they're running dry.
But the consumer holds some power to turn the tide of high prices. A relentless buying and spending inflicted on a brittle supply chain are contributing to the high price of diesel.
Inflictors.
And at some point, the consumer's going to say, all right, enough's enough. I gotta slow down because
We're
this
assholes.
is taking too much of my disposable income. If we do have a pullback
Yeah,
in
stop
economic
buying
activity,
stuff,
that might
stupid
help
economy.
to kind of
All your
level off supplies,
disposable
but for the time
income.
being, things are really tight.
But
Watch,
Erica,
it
really
gets worse.
important
Listen.
to just
Yeah.
mention one more time that the consumer, you and I and people at home do hold a lot of power to potentially lowering prices. If we decide to stop spending more on goods and services, that will bring down presumably the price of diesel because we won't need as many ships, as many trains and planes to get goods to our front door.
What she just described is a recession. Hey, consumers, if you stop making the economy go round, stop putting gas in your car, stop buying food and, I don't know, formula, things you need to eat, and then guess what? Then we can unemploy the people who run shipping companies and who run trains. This is their solution, is literally, I hate to say this, but when people talk about a crash, the Great Reset being orchestrated, you combine this with leftists like Vox saying that you shouldn't be breastfeeding even with a formula shortage.
Yeah.
You go, well, how can you guys be wrong on everything? And not only wrong, but advocating for people to act wrongly.
Well,
I don't know about running trains. I think the porn industry is doing pretty well.
That's true.
we can, Stephen, basically,
Chatsworth is a bubble.
We can get rid of cancer if we just kill the patient.
Yeah, that's
essentially
true.
the solution that she just proposed. And by the way,
Don't give them medicine.
I just want you to understand that diesel prices will not be affected by planes because they run on jet fuel, not diesel.
Well, there are some planes that run on diesel, like
No.
the Diamonds.
That's not true.
The Diamonds, that's actually something that's a good example. There have been very little advancements in personal aviation because of the unbelievable FAA restrictions. We should be advancing. They put Mercedes engines in planes that are diesel engines, and these are some of the most reliable personal planes. Right now, there should be a boom in personal aviation. A lot of you think that you have to have a Learjet. No, I'm talking about getting an affordable plane where you can pop in 2 people or 4 people, SUVs of the sky. There are a few options out there, but they're incredibly expensive because it takes like 2 decades to bring to market.
Yeah.
So you know what you can buy? An experimental aircraft. So there are 2 separate markets right now.
So
but right now,
either one.
ticket prices for air. I just paid $2,000 for a flight to see my aunt. It may not be that much. It may be like $1,400.
Well, it's close enough. That shouldn't be that high.
No, it's like $1,000 to fly to Detroit. Dude, it's nuts, man.
Absolutely insane.
It's like $600 if you want to upgrade. You're like, I'm sorry, what?
Well, the good news is if you stop purchasing plane tickets and no longer see your family, then, of course, American Airlines can go under, and then we can bail them out. So back to you, John.
Very cool. We can print money.
Yeah.
And then your dollar's worth less.
Yes. By the way, before we get to some of this with the gas prices and what's happening, there are really just 2 questions you need to ask yourself. And we'll have all the references available. But when you speak with other people about this and they try and present, well, actually, it's international and it's Russia. And okay, let's assume that that's a factor. Okay. Are there actions that we could be taking here in the United States to increase our energy capacity here in this country? Meaning, let's shut out the rest of the world. Are there actions that we could take here in the United States? The answer is unequivocally yes. Yeah. Are we doing that? No. We're doing the opposite of that.
Yeah. First day in office, and he was proud to do it. Keystone, bye-bye. Nord Stream 2, hey, welcome to the...
Just ask yourself those 2 questions, and then you can get to the why. But yesterday, gas prices nationwide, okay, they broke records. They were talking about diesel, but 9th day in a row. At a certain point, stop saying it's a record. It's like Phelps.
Yeah, I think he comes out to, chat, hey, guys, another record.
Yeah, it's like McDonald's. It's like, stop changing the number on the sign. We get it. You're doing good, McDonald's.
You killed millions, we understand.
Now do deaths.
Yes. Yeah.
So gas
do
increased
arteries.
16 cents in a week, 48 cents in a month,
Jeez.
$1.52 in the last year. The average in the country right now is $4.58 per gallon, according to AAA. Regular unleaded gas in California is $6.06. But they have a surplus, said Gavin Newsom. Yeah, when you tax and you overcharge, and then people are leaving, so you don't have to spend money on them.
Yeah, when you steal from your citizens, of course you have a surplus.
Of course, yeah. So did the royalty before Robin Hood got to work. This is it's one of those issues. Well, you can just stop driving.
Yeah.
Or you can just stop purchasing.
You're being very selfish getting behind the wheel of your own car
Right.
and filling it with gas that's $19 a gallon.
Yes.
Well, and we're heading into summer when this is just going to get worse.
There's a formula shortage. Shut that baby up.
Why is it crying?
Yeah.
Why is it so needy?
Why are you raising such a little bitch?
No. Don't use your breasts.
No.
No.
Then you'll lose your bodily autonomy, said Vox. That's an actual thing.
We almost ran
Seriously?
that story today.
Yes.
Yes, I read
They
it
listed
yesterday.
the negative ramifications of breastfeeding. And I'm going by rote, but I'm pretty sure someone there can bring up the graphic. It said fatigue, inability to work, anxiety, loss of bodily autonomy. That's what they're for! It's the only thing they're for. And fun, but primarily...
Wow.
Yeah. The many costs. Now,
And then they had a picture
You
of
don't
a lady
want
who's
tough,
like...
gross nipples?
Yes.
Why are you feeding your baby?
What do you want to look like, a bitch from a puppy mill?
Oh, gross.
Buy some Similac, you whore.
Those are for slapping, not for feeding.
oh, it's really bad.
Yeah, there's another one where there's a picture of a lady, and she's like, I'm losing my bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to think I'm gross.
Wait, you're losing your bodily autonomy by feeding your children?
This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
So they say, don't breastfeed, okay? Just don't drive, okay? Just don't purchase goods and services.
With your money that you've worked for.
Which is worth less now because we're
Printing it.
creating unbelievable inflation.
Just burn your money, and that will supply will go down, and
Yes.
then the dollar will be more valuable.
The
Why
only
aren't you
problem
burning
is
your
that's
money?
highly illegal.
Oh.
Legal tender and what have you.
You can't burn money?
Yeah, look right here. What does it say? It says judgment for. So this is the emotional health trauma. Keep this up for me.
It looks
that
like an
Vox-
ebony greeting card.
Yes. that. No, keep it up. Keep it up. I told you, keep it up. Just because Dave made me laugh, don't take it down. This is the toll on the emotional health. Judgment from strangers, significant loss of time, exhaustion, loss of bodily autonomy.
Why would you put this out to people?
This is how they view babies, folks. That baby's trying to make you exhausted and drain you of your bodily autonomy. You had it.
Yeah. Well, look, you do get exhausted, yes, but that's part of it. My wife is breastfeeding right now. It is work to do it, but it is incredibly rewarding to be able to do that if you can for your child.
She is breastfeeding. By the way, Gerald, save some for the baby.
Stop it. Walked right into that. Honey, I know you're watching right now. I apologize for Steven.
Did I clean my milk mustache?
Well, you know what? Just keep it. We're going to do a commercial later.
Dave's not invited to dinner anymore either.
Which is always an odd commercial to me. Like, who's spending money on milk campaigns?
I thought we were allowed to choose what meal we wanted.
Yes.
Nope. It's not a buffet.
Well, there's the choices. It's different. It's like you have a choice for normal, vegan, and then kosher. It's not just you can't just sexually assault
normal,
people.
vegan, and
I
shotgun.
thought you could. I didn't know.
So gas prices are at an all-time
Sexual
high.
assault.
This affects all of you, and we actually have to show what's going on here in our locale. We actually sent on the ground, of course, our on the ground getting the scoop correspondent Thomas Finnegan to gas stations to see what is happening. Let's go. Mr. Finnegan, okay, can you tell us what's happening
Hi,
here?
Steven. I'm here outside a local gas station to get the lowdown on why the prices are so high around the country. As you can see, $4.39 a gallon is hardly a bargain.
No. I don't advise. You shouldn't be. Finnegan, is his earpiece even working? Finnegan?
No.
Finnegan, can you hear me? Can we not do the cigarettes?
Bad idea.
Finnegan. Finnegan.
Sign clearly
Yeah.
says no smoking.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons why prices can be so high. One of them is that it's just currently not gas season.
What?
As vegetables are more expensive in the wintertime, so is gas at specific times of the year. Another factor is Elon Musk is sending spaceships to outer space. What? And those spaceships take a lot of gas and they don't run off of batteries.
That's not the factor
So
at all.
we're going to do our due diligence and check out one more location to make sure that we have all the information possible.
We've given no information thus far. Well, we'll check back in with him, but I don't have high hopes.
At least he's consistent.
I asked him if he quit smoking, and he said, I quit quitting and spit on my shoe.
Yeah.
He's been in a mood.
It's a touchy topic for him.
Yeah.
The alimony is not easy.
No, he's not happy about it.
Poor guy.
He has to pay alimony on what he doesn't make. I know. I pay him.
Really weird.
So, hey, you guys remember the Department of Misinformation, the Ministry of Truth?
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this yesterday, but it is officially dead.
Yes.
So that's good.
I know.
You take the wins where you can get them.
Yeah, of course.
And they have said that it has been paused indefinitely, which means dead.
Which, bye-bye.
So with the pause, remember Nina Jankowicz?
Yeah.
She was the worst. She decided to step down. She told CBS, with the board's work paused and its future uncertain, I have decided to leave DHS to return to my work in the public sphere. Oh,
You
good.
were fired. You didn't step down.
No, I left. It was me.
It's like when Sears closed down and the CEO's like, I think I'm going to quit.
Yes.
Well, there is no Sears.
You can't fire me. I quit.
It's like, all right.
Why don't I fit in? It is deeply disappointing that mischaracterizations of the board became a distraction from the department's vital work, and indeed, along with recent events globally and nationally, embodies why it is necessary. I love how basically they said, all right, well, let's just get rid of this because it's not necessary. She's like, that's why it's most necessary.
No, they said, we're going to get rid of this because it's a terrible idea, and everybody saw that it was a terrible idea.
Well, like Amber Heard and people like her, not all women, just a significant portion of them, particularly in the entertainment industry with histrionic personality disorder. The left is claiming that Jankowicz was the victim of coordinated online attacks. This is at Washington Post by Taylor Lorenz. She wrote, Jankowicz has been subject to an unrelenting barrage of harassment and abuse, while unchecked misrepresentations of her work continue to go viral. Keep in mind, this is Taylor Lorenz running interference for this crazy radical feminist, pro-censorship leftist advocate, right? So she's the one running the Department of Misinformation. And then you have Taylor Lorenz, who, by the way, docks the libs of TikToks. In case you forget, this is her at their house. And she's talking about mischaracterizations and abuse.
Oh, I guess there isn't a chapter on quitting and going home when things get hard.
I guess no.
No, she doesn't write books about that.
She doesn't write books about that.
No.
Sorry.
And by the way, in case you wanted to book,
She wore a mask.
in case you wanted to book this batshit harpy for an engagement in the future, she has some conditions. This is Jankowicz. She wrote, and by the way, I'm going to read this exactly as she wrote it.
Can you define it?
And Dave, you're going to see why.
All right.
As a comedian, you'll appreciate the lack
excited.
of appreciation she has. So she says, a note on Manels. I will not participate as a moderator of an all-male panel or Manel. Okay. Look. She leads with Manels to act as though we all know, but then she immediately concedes that you don't know. It's a thing I'm trying to make a thing. Stop trying to make Manel or fetch a thing.
Well, if you're on it, it's not a manel.
No.
You'd be the factor.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be the third Wannel.
Yeah.
She's like, don't include me in those.
I don't want to be on a wumble.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, wish granted, not included.
Right.
Yeah. No problem. You weren't invited.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to go anyway. I quit.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm done. I don't want to be part of your stupid panel anyway. I'm going to go start my own panel. Oh,
Everybody
that one was
likes me.
dissolved too? Damn, I can't catch a break.
Yeah, you like to go to a lot of places you aren't invited to.
Yes. So a note on Manels. I will not participate as a moderator of an all-male panel or Manel, and I will seriously reconsider my participation if your organization has any Manels on its agenda for the event in question. Then she went on to say, this is her, by the way. It's like, this is not a good job application.
No.
This is not something that you should put on your LinkedIn.
Well, unless you're applying to be a bitch.
Yes. Well, then
You're hired.
Like the cut of your jib.
we pay very little and we harass quite a bit.
Yes. Welcome.
How's 79 cents sound to you?
If you need
Yeah.
if you need references for
bit
women
less.
experts, please ask, or better yet, consult the websites. Consult these websites. Women Also Know Stuff, Interrupted, She Source, or Google, which should tell you everything you need to know about Google, that it's right alongside Women Interrupted and She Source.
Well, it's all women know stuff, also know stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Gerald knows stuff. So they stepped on my
They stepped on your
my name.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's terrible.
And I love how they're
Women also
conceding
know stuff.
ground with women also know stuff. Like, why don't you just call it women know stuff?
Yeah.
Well, because men know more
is
stuff,
funny.
but we know things also.
Yeah, you're kind of putting yourself down.
Yeah, exactly.
Interrupted.
Oh my gosh.
Well, maybe it's because you go on too long.
Yeah.
Victim complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe you're not interrupted. Maybe it's just that you never shut up.
Yeah. I think that's maybe it.
I'm so glad this person is not in charge of truth anymore.
And I appreciate that you used a gender-neutral description.
This person.
Yes.
Person.
I didn't want to say something ugly.
I don't know the pronouns for bitch.
And I'm glad you pointed out what she doesn't do. Truth.
Yes.
Well, that's yes.
Well, her truth, which
Right.
is a lie.
Or any man with self-respect.
Yes. She doesn't do that either.
No, she does not.
Yeah. The TikToker.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, that's got to be. You have to be into like bondage or S&M or humiliation to date someone like that, right? Like, like let's go out to dinner and you can just put me down in front of the waitstaff.
Yes, exactly.
Just dress me down in front of my family.
Yeah,
and
order for
friends.
me.
Yeah.
No all male spaces. Okay, I will not be the only woman to break the barrier.
He'll have the Cosmopolitan. I don't want the... He'll have the Cosmopolitan!
Okay.
Oh yes, I will.
All right.
She's like friends with Jada Pinkett
Did you-
Smith, so it's okay.
Did you just pull my chair out for me? Just breaks his hand.
When she walks in the room, Will Smith slaps somebody. So.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah, she definitely. I guarantee you, she has those Pinkett eyes.
This is one of the... And by the way, the concern here is they're just going to do this in private. They thought... This shows the disconnect again. They thought they would announce, look, we have a radical feminist and a department of misinformation. And they were expecting like, And instead everyone said, what? And they said, never mind. So they're just going to do it privately because they realize that they need to push their agenda in an underhanded way as it relates to the American people, specifically with Latinos and black Americans. Democrats are going to lose them the second that these demographics find out what they actually want. When you look on the individual issues, it's not even close. So, by the way, we were this close. Think about it. This close to having a radical, man-hating feminist determine what is true and false on all of social media, in all of America. Thank God we dodged that bitch, but think about how close we were to it. So Nina Jankowicz, thank you. It's time to close.
In April, the Department of Homeland Security announced the creation of a Disinformation Governance Board. Now, the woman appointed to lead that effort is a woman named Nina Jankowicz. She's a former disinformation fellow at the Wilson Center and the author of the book, How to Lose the Information War.
I want to be rich, famous, and powerful. Step on all my enemies and never do a thing.
Time to close. Ending.
President Biden's disinformation czar quit today.
To barely later in 2022.
I have never had douche chills quite like that with her singing.
She's the Timothy Dalton of misinformation czars.
Oh, I want to be rich and powerful.
Back to
Eat
TikTok.
men.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Good thing. Yeah. Model yourself after a dishonest Ethel Merman.
Yes. Oh.
I want to be like Ethel Merman, but lie a lot.
This is terrible.
Say no more.
You've come to the right place. We've started a branch of government for you.
And in
world.
2 weeks, that branch is going to fall.
Yeah.
So you're kind of going out on a limb, and we don't care.
Yeah, you did the exact job we thought you would do.
Hey, they lasted longer than CNN Plus, I think.
That is true.
Oh, way longer.
That
Way
is true.
longer.
So at least you know, Nina Jankowicz, you have Brian Stelter's jealousy, and no one can ever take that from you. Which, by the way,
she's jealous over your handbag as well.
yes, no one can ever take from me my Built Bars.
Boom.
If you go to Built.com and use the promo code Crowder15, you get 15% off your next order. Don't listen to Joe Lewis in the intro. Do not send trash. That's a problem that we're trying to get him to stop doing.
Yes.
And I don't feed him Built Bars anyway, so I don't know what he's complaining about. Because it's real chocolate. These things are delicious. I use them just as dessert. This is the birthday cake box because we've run out of all the other boxes.
Yeah.
I don't like birthday cake, okay? I just don't like birthday cake, period. I got sick on it one year, so I can't eat anything that tastes like birthday cake. But people who like birthday cake love this stuff. I love the chocolate ones. The peanut butter.
Oh, yeah.
The
one I have
the
over
fudge
here.
brownie.
But a huge fan of candles.
No, those are terrible, too.
But it depends on how they're scented.
I light them and leave them in your place, and then you throw up when you walk in the door.
It's true.
Yeah.
Kind of fun for me.
Yeah, but Bill, they're sponsored because I actually use their stuff. No one needs protein bars. One thing, if you think you can take it and get jacked, but it's a good way to replace desserts and have something that just actually tastes good.
Do you work out with those?
Yeah, I do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just eat them.
But this is the thing. There's so many people all over Instagram who are like, you want to know how I got big? It's like, Turinabol? It's because I took this tea. And it's like, oh, okay, The Rock.
Sure, that's natural at 50.
Yeah.
Sure, you just keep getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Totally like all people that age.
And your forehead raised 3 inches like a Three Stooges sketch.
Yeah.
You and Mark McGuire.
He's got so much juice in him and doesn't know where to go. It's just creating body parts.
Yes. He has a tattoo that reads "The Rock made from concentrate."
Yes.
So here's something that we should talk about, too, before we get to the Great Replacement Therapy, because it's therapy. Why am I saying therapy?
I don't know.
The Great
I don't know.
Back to you, Bob.
That's the perfect answer. I haven't a clue.
I have no idea.
They don't call him the best color guy in the business for no reason.
Yes, exactly. You're like the Dennis Miller of the NFL.
Yeah, I bet you had TRT on the mind because we're talking about all the roads.
Oh, yeah, it's probably we were talking about therapy. Yeah. No, that's not steroids. Old guys should be taking that stuff.
Inner thigh therapy? Yes.
Yes.
That's what I do.
Yeah. Well, that's the thigh master therapy.
Yes.
You need to update your training methods.
I have, but I bought so many.
He has so many thigh masters and buns of steel VHS tapes.
I literally don't have furniture.
He just sits on stacks of videos.
You still have the health rider, Dave?
So there was a shooting that happened last week, and everyone's been talking, obviously, about, I was about to say Milwaukee, but no, they're not talking about Milwaukee. They're talking about Buffalo. So there was Dallas, there was Orange County, there were Milwaukee. These were the worst shootings,
Houston,
and they're only discussing Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay. There was another shooting last week, though, that is getting almost no national coverage. And I wanted to bring it to your attention because for the life of me, I can't figure out why.
I may have an idea.
Police say the black suspect who shot 3 women at a Korean hair salon was angry at all Asians because of a bad experience during a traffic accident with an Asian driver. Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Eager. It's 9 o'clock. An arrest warrant affidavit for 37-year-old Jeremy Smith says that was the reason for his hatred of Asians was relayed to police by his girlfriend. She also told them Smith was once fired for attacking an Asian boss. He was arrested while working a temporary landscaping job and charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. In addition to the salon shooting, police are looking at whether he shot at 2 other Asian-owned businesses.
Well, I'm noticing a theme. And this was not covered. That was local media, right? You would think it'd get national coverage. No.
That's just local.
Who could have possibly predicted such a strange turn of events as far as the identity of this shooting? If only someone.
They just announced that they have made an arrest in the Dallas shooting of a Korean-owned hair salon. CNN just covered the entire story. I didn't hear any mention of race, but it was a Korean-owned salon, and I'm just curious if the race is known. So if you guys look it up and see if the race...
That just happened? There was a shooting in a Korean salon?
It happened a couple of days ago. I don't know how many people
Remember
were
when
shot.
one happened? I don't remember if it was in Texas. The guy shut up the massage parlor, and they said it was racially motivated.
No, that was,
but it was
that was in Georgia or something.
It was in Georgia, yeah.
But it was because they didn't want to give him handies?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He went to the wrong salon for that. It's like, no.
Yeah, you got to go to the right place.
This was from an hour ago, but the Dallas Morning News says that the police announced the arrest early Tuesday, but did not provide the suspect's name. So I don't think we're going to get the race yet if they don't have the name.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, well.
I'm just curious.
One guess.
Weird.
I tell you, that Zoltar machine in the green room is the best investment we ever made.
It really is.
Thing ever.
I still only grew partway to big.
Yeah. And by the way, if you think that they didn't know who this person was from the outset, you're wrong. They had this story. When that story ran on the 17th, they had this information, but it was then removed.
And by the way, just like if you have to pay for gas at the pump, it's your fault. You should stop purchasing gas. If you notice the statistical trend in crime in this country, particularly as it's perpetuated against Asians, you're wrong. Yeah. You shouldn't be doing that. And that's where we're going to discuss the Great Replacement Theory next. But let's hit this. So this was last week. The guy was 37-year-old Jeremy Smith. It was at Hair World Salon in Dallas, Texas. Shot 3 women.
Yeah.
Luckily, thank God, none of them were killed. It is being investigated. I mean, I don't know how much investigation.
Another hate crime, right?
Hate crime,
because it can be racist from a black person to another race, right?
As far as motive, because sometimes you don't want to just. Here's the thing: just because a white guy shoots somebody, it's not because he happens to be white. And just because a black guy shoots somebody, it doesn't necessarily mean it's because he's black. Of
course. Or
because the victim is white or the victim is Asian. That doesn't determine motive. In this case, though, the girlfriend did say, anytime the suspect, Smith, is around anyone of Asian descent, he begins having delusions that the Asian mob is after him or attempting to harm him. So that seems pretty clear.
That's weird. I don't know why you would date him.
Yeah.
Why would the Yakuza be coming after you, Mr. Smith?
What are you, counting cards?
Well, perhaps he owes money to someone.
Yeah. Well, that may be true.
Maybe it's very legitimate.
But did he travel to Japan just to screw with the Yakuza to come back? I mean, it's a pretty insular world.
But why would you, you're Asian. You're just like, what do you like? Well, long walks on the beach. I like to watch movies. I also freak out every time I see an Asian person.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, let's go out.
Let's go to a Korean salon.
I go into an epileptic seizure and wake up later, and they're dead.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Like, no, well, you know what? It sounds like it's a man who's a fixer-upper.
As long as you've never been on a mantle.
Yeah. He's a bad boy. I like men that I can fix.
I love that you're so open.
He's a fixer-upper. Oh, he's got a gun.
No, I've made some bad decisions.
He has bad aim.
So let's sort of compare. Then, remember what our former vice president said after the Atlanta spa shooting last year, the salon shooting that we just discussed.
There are simply some core values and beliefs that should bring us together as Americans. One of them is standing together against hate, against racism, the ugly poison that has long haunted and plagued our nation.
Now, I want to be clear, again, that wasn't racially motivated. It was just a guy who was mad because he was a sex fiend.
Yeah, but they immediately went to the racial motivation for a white guy who shot, I believe, 3 people. Well, no, he may have shot 5 people or something.
He shot enough.
He shot enough. Immediately they went to race.
Right.
Immediately.
In this
case, they excluded it from the conversation.
Well, here's the thing. Here's how former Vice President Biden addressed when we basically have an anti-Asian manifesto and with the kind of insanities that you would only see from someone with serious psychiatric disorders and also racist. So let's see how former Vice President Biden addressed the shooting where we know the motive in Dallas.
That's very similar to how he addressed all the Asians getting killed in New York City.
You mean they didn't want to be shoved in front of the L train?
I guess.
I just thought it was a thing.
Why would you stand that close to it?
I just thought they were adrenaline junkies.
No.
So bad.
Awful.
So here's also, by the way, Ginger Snap was here just to give you a little bit of insight. He went over there to the salon, and he noticed one thing: the salon where they shot. Bring up those images. No guns allowed.
No guns.
Did he not see the sign?
I don't know.
Wow.
Apparently, the force field lapsed.
That's crazy.
Maybe he's illiterate.
Well,
maybe just.
Wait, hold on a second. People are going to be more mad
We
that I
can't
say
say that,
he's illiterate and he just shot Asian women.
Well, it wasn't because of anything other than he just obviously didn't pay attention to the sign.
Or he can't read.
He could possibly not read.
Well, he may not have
Never know.
understood what the Ghostbuster gun thing
Yeah.
meant.
Who has? We
it's
don't
a
know.
fair point.
He may not be able to read. We don't know if he drove Miss Daisy.
Well, if he can't read, then he's probably going to be not fit to stand trial.
Oh,
6
so
months
it might
from
be,
now,
yeah,
like
quickly, yeah.
some
Yeah.
other examples.
That's a good point.
Schizophrenia.
Is he out yet on no bail?
The man who beat the old men in Detroit?
No, this
no,
guy.
he's free to go.
Yeah, he's free to go.
Yeah, he's on the streets.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Right where the Lord wants him.
Yes. Point him to the old folks' home.
Yep.
He's got some mercy to give.
Might I suggest Bob Evans at the early bird hour?
Yes, enjoy. It's
So-
an all-you-can-punch buffet.
Yes. That's just Golden Corral. That's all it is. So,
That's if there's one steak left.
yeah, Ginger, it's not even sirloin. Ginger Snap actually asked business owners in the neighborhood about this, and none of the business owners had guns. And most of the Korean business owners, they found guns scary, and they said that the police would help. So this is just anecdotal. I'm letting you know there were discussions that were taking place.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Look, Asian Americans right now, and just to be clear, I know people say, oh, well, how can you speak? I'm not speaking for you. I'm not Asian American. I am speaking to you. I'm speaking with you. You know who else is an Asian American? Former Vice President Biden. I guess Kamala is when she chooses that it's convenient. But come
on the
on.
day.
You ain't black.
Let's be honest. But Democrats don't give a crap about you. They use you. Remember when it was Stop Asian Hate? What happened with that? Once the statistics came out, they don't care. Hey, where are the Democrats fighting against the quotas that you're seeing at universities right now? There's, happened in Harvard and Brown where they say, no, we have too many Asians. Where are they? Right now, I'm telling you, I do. I care. And by the way, I don't, just so you know, Asian Americans, before you start feeling super special, I don't care about you any more than I care about any other form of American, white American, black American. I'm just saying that I want you to have the same rights and fighting chance. I want you to arm yourselves. I want you to be able to protect your businesses. I encourage you to protect your businesses. And I encourage you to go to states that allow you to protect your homes and businesses. Because as you see, the police cannot save you.
Yeah, I want somebody like Mr. Smith to be terrified that somebody is going to shoot him as he walks in with the gun in his hand trying to shoot them. I want somebody to go, I don't know if I can go in there because these guys might have a gun as well, instead of going, there's no way. They got a sign on the door that says no guns. Perfect.
Yeah. What do you think would stop a shooter like him more effectively? The sign that says no guns or a turret?
Well, what if it's a turret of signs?
Well, it could be all of the above.
Well.
Also, let me update you, too, on Milwaukee. Another thing that I want to say thing because it's not one shooting. It was several shootings, right? There are 3 suspects who were arrested. There was a shooting that injured 16 people.
Jeez.
And there were other, I believe it was over 20 when you add them all up.
Yeah, there was an earlier shooting, I believe, to that one that happened probably a few hours or so before on that same night.
Yeah. And of course, look, the reason the media isn't really covering it so much is the same reason they don't cover Chicago. And I understand it's not the same as someone running in, shooting up a school, gang related. But guess what? A lot of kids get tripped up in gang-related activity, not only in actual shootings in bad areas of town where often black people have to live. And I'm saying that because you say that. You say it when you talk about climate justice. Yes, many black Americans live in poorer areas where there is more significant crime. Kids get caught on crossfire all the time, not to mention kids get recruited at a young age in these areas. So gang crime is relevant. And that is why when you look at mass shootings, it's not the angry white guy who commits the vast majority of them. People are just wrong about that. These statistics matter. Hey, Asians, statistically, you're most likely, very, very likely, to be violently assaulted by a black person. Hey, black Americans, statistically, you are most likely to be shot and killed, not by a white guy, not by a cop, by another black person. Now,
empathy is not ignoring that fact. That's what I really don't like about it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It just makes zero sense to me.
Well, and focusing every bit of your effort on these tragedies, which deserve focus, but absolutely focusing no energy on, hey, Chicago, you guys had 15 to 20 people killed again this weekend.
Right.
Again this weekend. Are you going to do anything about that? Do those lives not matter? Do the innocent people that are getting shot, like you said, caught in the crossfire, do they not matter?
And the trick that they try and pull is, well, are you saying all black people are violent? No. Look, we just showed you 3 people, and depending on the reports, 16 to 20-something people shot. That's a very small percentage. In other words, if you look in Chicago, this is why mass shootings, I think they changed it from 3 or more to 4 or more, are often being perpetrated by a very small group of people, and they're doing it very often. Not most black people, but it's the huge percentage of black people are affected by the way this destroys their neighborhoods. We are not saying that most black people shoot. What we are saying is most crime, violent crime, is perpetrated by a very small percentage of black people who, but for some reason, because you're just talking about votes, you don't want to acknowledge. I don't want black people to have to live in fear. I don't want Asian salon owners to have to live in fear. And I don't want the white woman walking through a black neighborhood to have to live in fear. Is that even-handed?
Well, it's because they selectively choose what race they want to tell you. So that's the problem.
Right.
So we have to bring up the other side of it. And by ignoring it, it just causes more death. You're not helping kids not join gangs. You're not helping get better education. You're not teaching firearm safety. All you're doing is sending more kids to the streets, more people to turn into this. And it's horrific.
Yeah. Well, they do have firearm safety courses. That's how they teach you to aim it sideways.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
it's called Look Cool class.
Yes. Look, first 3 rules of firearm safety. Finger, always on that trigger, bitch. Sideways and aim recklessly.
While running away.
Yes.
Shoot Kane while he covers up the kid in the big wheel.
There you go. We will now move on to concealed carry. No need for a holster. Just put it in there. Now,
oh man, shot his dick
you might
off.
lose your penis. Don't worry.
Cheddar Bob blew his dick
now
off.
a box.
It's the risk you're willing to take. This is the life. The only way out is in a box. Oh boy, this is a weird shooting class.
I don't like this class at all.
This is also a funeral home.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, we need to place another order for more embalming fluid. Yes. So let's get to this, the great replacement theory. This is the talk everywhere, and everyone is afraid. The left has been very effective in making people afraid to even address it. Now, let me be really clear here. I am not saying that the great replacement theory is a theory that needs to be espoused. What I am saying is that there has been a misrepresentation, of course, of shooters, how they've been influenced, and who is out there, right, preaching this idea of the great replacement theory. What they want to do now, people at CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, CBS, all of media, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, they want you to believe that it is mainstream republicanism to tout a neo-Nazi slogan of great replacement theory in order to silence you from discussing a very real issue of, I wouldn't even necessarily say race, I wouldn't even necessarily do the cop-out and just say culture, but voting demographics and the purchasing therein. So in case you haven't heard, let's just go here so you see what I'm talking about. Everyone from the left we have a montage, right? Them blaming Buffalo on the great replacement theory and racist conservatives.
Officials believe the gunman accused of the mass shooting in Buffalo was inspired by the white replacement conspiracy theory. Now, this is a baseless belief that white people are being slowly but intentionally replaced by minorities and immigrants.
The concept was once a fringe theory, but now it's embraced by many Republican lawmakers and Fox hosts.
For example,
So clever.
Fox News host Tucker Carlson. People count up this kind of stuff. So whether you watch him or not, the fact is that the people who do and who track this note that he has made a reference or variation to this type of hateful conspiracy theory, this replacement thing, over 400 times since 2016.
We also have, prominent talking heads, Tucker Carlson, Fox News, making hundreds of references, a study has shown, hundreds of references to this kind of great replacement theory.
Did you peer review that
notions
paper?
of white genocide.
So when people like Tucker Carlson present a ready for cable version of the theory, it makes more extreme versions of it more accessible to audiences who would have never encountered it or would have never really thought about it.
The hate that through the media and politics, the internet, has radicalized, angry, alienated, lost, and isolated individuals into falsely believing that they will be replaced. That's the word, replaced.
Okay, so let me be clear about something. They're trying to use the term the great replacement theory. And the reason for that is that's basically an anti-Semitic sort of fringe theory that comes from people who believe that there's this cabal of Jews who are trying to replace white people. Okay. Of course, I don't believe that. And this is very important for me. I would like to see a comment below because I would like people to see the biggest, right-leaning YouTube channel that's ever existed. If you agree with the sentiment I'm about to express, I don't think that George Soros is sitting there, killing white babies. Okay. But what is happening is demographic changes due to large amounts of illegal immigration occurring unchecked and being made the beneficiaries of the social safety net, a current welfare system in this country, in order to ensure their votes. Not saying there's a planned orchestration of genocide against white people, but there absolutely is a plan in place that is taking place right now before your very eyes in allowing mass illegal immigration into this country in order to try and change voting demographics. Now, I know you're going to say, hold on, and I want you to comment if you agree that that's what's happening, and I didn't have to mention race once, by the way, let's be really clear. However, that exact sentiment has been expressed for years by the left, and they do make it a race thing. They call it the browning of America, and they brag about it.
In a few years, we're going to be a majority brown country. White people will not be the majority in the country anymore.
This will be the first generation ever in American history in which whites will be a minority of the generation at some point.
As of 2007, every year, babies being born in this country, whites now are the minority.
In 2044, everyone is going to be a minority.
As the demographics change, as white people become the minority in the country, which is coming.
Demographics is destiny. Demographics is destiny.
Demographics is destiny, right? The country is changing.
I've been saying it here. Other people have been saying it here for years now, even before Donald Trump. The demographics is destiny.
The white population is declining for the first time in history in America, while the number of multiracial Americans have more than doubled.
So we live in a country where the demographics are changing. It's becoming less white.
Correct.
Okay.
You'll be announcing that we're calling the 38 electoral votes of Texas for the Democratic nominee for president. It's changing. It's going to become a purple state and then a blue state.
Is that a vampire?
Because of the demographics, because of the population growth.
The growth in Texas has been almost entirely driven by non-white population growth, mostly by Hispanic and Latino population growth.
Demographics are destiny. So look, I think now it's fair. Hey, there's a huge difference between believing in the superiority of one's race versus acknowledging the changing of demographics. We have an overlay here. We have a reference. Let's go to overlay J. Really quickly. There you go. Those are the numbers. Those are the projections. Okay. And the left is bragging about it. Now, I'm going to get to the history a little bit of immigration, how this changed dramatically, and why there's a difference when people say, well, we're a country of immigrants. Well, that's true. Immigration up through the 1960s, certainly the 30s, 40s, not at all the same as today. Here's the primary difference. You cannot have open borders and you cannot have mass immigration when you have a social safety net and a welfare culture. It's very, very different.
Yeah.
And that's where we are right now. When that happens, you've got to close the books or at least have a guest book. There's a huge difference between legal and illegal immigration. The left tries to act as though we throw it all together. Look, if you look at the Irish, the Italians, the Jews, these people in Europe who are fleeing wars, people will now say, oh, what happened to Statue of Liberty? Give us you're tired, you're hungry, you're poor. Yeah, at that point in time, there was no promise to feed the hungry, no promise to pay the poor from the taxpayer. That's a very different time. It was a very different reason for people migrating to this country, and it is not a scenario today that is tenable when you have people coming in and suckling at the public teat.
Well, yeah, and they looked at it as the land of opportunity.
Yes.
The way that they could go and work hard and make something for themselves, not a place to come and just get taken care of.
Yes.
That was the thing. It's a little bit different mentality.
Well, what happened is they were fleeing impending war, right? Throughout, obviously, I don't know if you're a history buff, but
yeah.
Do you know
the
there was
early 20th century? No, there were two.
Several.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, they blew their wad when they called the first one like the Great War. They had no idea what was coming.
Oh no, idea.
The Greater.
Like
War.
this is the best war. Oh, that doesn't ring right.
Wait till you see 3. That's coming any minute.
So a lot of people were fleeing Europe, right? Because of these impending wars. They were constantly under the threat of tyranny. They wanted to be a part of America. They weren't coming here to get handouts. They were not coming here to this country to break the law. Not saying that everyone right now who's coming to this country is breaking the law, but a disproportionate amount of crime certainly committed on the southern border is by people who are here illegally. So they came here with no promises on boats. Few bucks in their pocket. Today, half of all immigrant households receive at least one major welfare program.
Wow.
And the left wants mass illegal immigration. Why? So they can guarantee a path to citizenship and they can get votes. Race has nothing to do with it. But here's the thing. At one point, race did have something to do with immigration policy. And I was going by rote this morning or last night when I was talking about this. I think a lot of you don't know that there was a proactive shift in immigration policy. You can thank Ted Kennedy here in this country because they wanted to favor big corporations and keep a permanent working class. Okay, so let me kind of give you a little bit of a briefer. So after World War II, there are a lot of immigrants, right, that were coming from Europe, and they were skilled. They were looking for good jobs. In other words, they weren't coming from countries that had not developed places. What do you mean? Honduras, El Salvador, Mexico, places that have not given anything else, and I mean this, anything else to the modern industrialized world. They were coming from places like Germany, like Poland, like parts of the UK.
Well, and very relatively similar cultures too.
Right? Relatively
Obviously
similar cultures.
but relatively similar.
And they were looking for good jobs. Now, here's the thing. A lot of CEOs didn't like that because you're talking about bringing immigrants coming in who are skilled.
Yeah.
And so they'll want to be paid more.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a bill, Ted Kennedy supported this bill that cut off immigration from what we now know as the EU, opened it up wide to the Pacific Rim countries. Okay? It's called the Hart-Celler Immigration Act of 1965. And they claim that it expands civil rights, as far as the movement to immigration and abolishing this national origins quota system. Really what it did is it actually made it nearly impossible for European immigrants to come here with more skills, with more education, because they believed, and you go, why favor people from the Pacific Rim? Because you're talking about people who would come from manufacturing jobs where they were making pennies, go to the United States, and guess what? They were less likely to ask for more. And so this was the government saying, hey, CEOs, they want cheap labor. And right now, that's not necessarily. The Irish are coming in and opening up pubs. The Italians are coming in and, they're opening up restaurants and also organized crime. But I digress. They said, hey, the Germans are coming in and they're becoming engineers. These CEOs don't want that. So let's change our immigration policy to make sure that we bring in as unskilled, dependent, and therefore grateful to the government immigrants that we can. That was a decision that was made. You need to understand when you go, yeah, hold on. A lot of you inherently think there's a difference. You go, well, if I look at the Irish and the Italians, sure, we were a country of immigrants, but it feels like there was something different. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. This is basically like us today saying, hey, China doesn't pay those kids that work in those factories very much. Can we get in on that action? Can we make it easier for them to come over here and just do that here?
Yeah. So what you're saying is like, okay, let's say America is a Buick.
Yes.
And Ted Kennedy, for example, would be a CEO.
Yes.
Okay, let's say it's driven into the water.
Yes.
Now the water is immigration, and it's filling the car.
And
now Americans are Mary Jo.
That's exactly.
Okay, so now Mary Jo is just getting surrounded.
Yes.
But
and the Democratic Party waits a day and a half to alert the authorities.
Correct.
Well, but here's what the Democratic
Which really isn't
Party
even allegorical. That's actually what happened.
That's what happened. Yeah.
Don't worry, I'm going for help.
So the CEOs are just showing up all wet to a party and going, "I was here the whole time."
Yeah. Oh, hey, you're all wet behind the ear.
Good one. Good one. Where's Mary?
Yeah, killed the bitch. By the way, that's pretty good. By the way,
that old chatterbox.
Yeah. Just so you know, because I know you watching right now, you may be 20 years old, 18 years old. We have more people in that demographic than any other. You may not know. Ted Kennedy killed abroad.
Yes.
Jeez.
It's on record
that he killed somebody.
It actually happened.
He drove her drunk into the Chappaquiddick River.
Yes, and then left her and lied about it and didn't even call for help, and she could have been saved. So just in case you're wondering what's this reference, it's not like some esoteric Dennis Miller. Yeah. It's something that everybody knows.
With no consequences. Sorry, the last thing there. The guy that punched the guy got more consequences for that than Ted Kennedy got for killing somebody.
Well, it's why the brothers got assassinated, and they looked at Ted and were like, all right, I think he'll be taken out fine.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not doing anything?
Right. Yeah. They're like, well, we're only killing all the Kennedys who did sleep with Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
So,
so that was the list.
There's nothing I can do.
No.
It's terrible.
So, Jill, but you were going to talk. This is also now this comes to today. And all the references are available at louderwithcreditor.com.
Right.
There was a proactive approach in the bill in America's legislative policy to basically say We don't want to bring in people who are coming from universities, coming from skills. We want to bring in people from sweatshops because that's what's best for the CEOs.
Yeah, and so this bolsters their voting base. Like that's what Tucker Carlson was talking about when CNN ran hit pieces on Tucker Carlson right after this shooting. They ran him talking about illegal immigration, people coming in from the southern border, and so they're like, okay, well, how many? Nearly 1.5 million encounters thus far in fiscal 2022. I think it starts in October, so it's about halfway through the year, just a little bit over.
Yep.
And compare that to 646,000 encounters for all of fiscal 2020. An entire year. That was
1.5.
Yeah, and that's
to 800.
No,
to,
it's six.
To
right
646.
646,000. That's encounters.
That's like almost. It's like almost 3 times.
Well, but
not exactly.
In 2020, Donald Trump's last year, that was the number, right? And they're not even done yet. The 1.5 million will likely be 2.5 to 3 million, somewhere in that neighborhood by the time that fiscal year ends. So the next thing is, the Biden administration so far in this fiscal year, which is about 6 months old at the time that they gave the stat, has released over 836,000 illegal immigrants into the United States. The catch and release. That is more than the Trump administration encountered at the border.
And by the way, how many of them are getting formula? We don't have those numbers, but a lot.
Yeah, quite a bit.
That's part of it. But
shut your mouth. You think this is your country? What are you, a racist? But wait a second. I just want to buy formula. You're giving it to people who aren't even citizens. Shut your racist mouth.
Yeah. Well, the Supreme Court actually just heard a case where they basically wanted to get rid of the stay in Mexico policy, where Donald Trump said, look, if you're coming to this country illegally, the door is revolving. It goes right back into Mexico, and you can stay there. You can make your asylum claim there. You can get everything sorted out there. This administration changed that. They tried to change it by executive order, and it got challenged. Right. So that case has been heard. Hopefully we'll get a ruling on that this summer. But they are absolutely for, oh, you're here in the United States illegally? Okay, we'll set a court date for you. Go have fun.
Right.
And that's why Greg Abbott sent busloads up to Washington, D.C. and said, look, you're releasing them at our border. How about I bring them to your doorstep?
Right.
I'm not saying these are bad people. I'm just saying they're not doing it the right way.
Yeah.
Right? So that was the point they had. And they don't want a wall. They wanted to end Title 42, which basically was the COVID restriction.
No voter ID.
Send them back.
Because that's racist, even though 87% of black Americans want some kind of ID. But at that point, black Americans are inconvenient. So shut your racist mouth. Hey, black Americans, you think you should have voter ID? What are you, racist? Well, I need ID.
Yeah, but guess what? They're actually hedging their bets because they think voter ID is racist and they say you shouldn't have to have it to vote in this country, but they're also saying that everyone should get an ID just in case. I wonder why they're saying
because certain states are having ID laws. That's why.
Interesting.
And so they need to ensure that they can get votes. Again,
are these blue states?
Yeah, who knows?
Weird.
Mostly Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. I can't think. Michigan, maybe something like that.
I don't know.
And let me end this. Look, it's about voting demographics. Just to be clear, I don't believe that people use it interchangeably that race is destiny. Now, I also, by the way, this is something people won't like to hear. I also don't think there's anything wrong with white Americans wanting their neighborhood to look similar to how it looked with their dad and their grandparents. And, people tend to be comfortable around people they were raised with. Have you been to Mexican neighborhoods? Been to largely black neighborhoods? This is a natural process that takes place. Doesn't mean that you should seclude yourself, but I don't blame black people for watching black entertainment television. I don't blame Latino people for watching Telemundo. I understand that we have different tastes because we have different cultures. Melanin doesn't determine how you vote. Unfortunately, it's about buying votes from the Democratic Party. Like you said, they realized they weren't going to be able to buy the votes of, for example, Italian Americans who came here and started businesses and were paying taxes. They realized this back then, so they said, let's bring in a bunch of people who are basically indentured servants from these countries, so that they'll be grateful to us and they'll vote for us. Well, now you see that changing a little bit, right, with those same Asian Americans back then. You're no longer convenient for them. You're starting to lean a little more right. So let's now bring in more people from Mexico. Let's make sure that our policy favors people coming from these countries, that hey, look, you remember who helped you, right? You remember who brought you in? You remember who, even during a pandemic, we paused is it Title 42? We paused 42. Title 40, right? Remember we gave you formula? Remember how to vote? Because on the issues, they can't. When you look at the issues of abortion, you look at the issues of even taxes, you look at the issues of what's taking place in schools, brown Americans, meaning all Latino Americans, and even Muslim Americans, I'm including them among brown Americans and black Americans, overwhelmingly would align with a center-right point of view. So they try to make it about things that they give you so they can purchase your vote. And then as we see today, they only use you when it's convenient. So look, it's not, I want to be really clear about this. It's not about race, but it's not just about culture, because people say it's not just race, it's culture. There's a part of that for sure. We all have different cultures. But let me present something to you, okay? This is something with white supremacists that really bothers me. To the actual white supremacists, and there are very few, like to the 4 of you. Look,
the boots.
Yeah, there are 50% of white people, actually probably more, in our country, who share your same culture, and they vote Democrat. And by the way, right now, think about it, and I understand demographics will change, and so you're concerned about that. However, let's assume those demographics change. The demographics are already bad enough when you take people from your own race and from your own culture. You can't say that it was black people. You can't say that it was brown people who screwed you with Barack Obama. It was white people with Bill Clinton, with Jimmy Carter. So I just want to make sure people are going to come and say, oh, it's a cop-out. I'm not saying that there aren't differences inherently between races. I'm not saying that there aren't differences culturally that often have to do with how people are that are racially based. I'm not saying any of that, but what I am saying is the primary issue is not that, and that's not how the Democrats are thinking of it. They're thinking of whose votes can we buy. And why don't you talk about half of this country whose votes have been bought? I would take 10 brown people who look and act differently from me for every white person who shares my race and culture and is voting to take my rights away. I'd rather have 10 Latino American, assuming, by the way, let's be clear, all legal immigrants, versus one Swedish immigrant who comes in and wants a social safety net system and, by the way, now has lost his bragging rights of being neutral as his shitty country tries to join NATO. How about this? Once you pay up the back bill, pay your tab and you can get in. The problem is that we have right now a system of immigration laws and it starts these people. And by these people, right now, I mean, yeah, primarily brown people. I mean, yeah, primarily people coming from South America by design, just because geographically it's easiest for them to come in illegally, and it's in the Democratic Party's best interest for the immigrants to be illegal. Think about that for a second. That by itself, it's in the best interest of the Republican Party and of the American people for immigrants to be coming here legally. It is absolutely, unequivocally, in the best interest of the Democratic Party for them to enter illegally. That's why their policy reflects it. What does that tell you? They want to bring in people at an intentional deficit and then promise them a fix at the cost of your tax dollars. So when people try to bring up the great replacement theory and blame you for a mass shooting, hopefully this helps you, because you don't need to be afraid to address the real issue of demographics. The left has been bragging about it for years. All right, and by the way, speaking of this, and speaking of what's affecting you in taxes, I think we actually have him back now.
He didn't blow up?
Thomas, he's our on-the-ground reporter, has gone to another gas station.
Oh, boy.
It's time to go on the ground with Thomas Finnegan. All right, Mr. Finnegan, what's that?
Okay, wait a minute. Ready? Let's just do it. Just do it.
I do not like that sound.
That noise. To continue what I was saying, we're in a more impoverished neighborhood. However, it looks like the price of gas is the same. It's $4.39 a gallon.
Yes.
So what I was thinking is what we didn't take into consideration is that the gas comes from fossil fuels, which is where we get the oil.
Yeah.
And it's in the ocean, and like the tides, sometimes it's high and sometimes it's low.
I don't understand at all what that has to do with
yeah, you in a wrong
what is the tides and the gas?
And I think that takes it. That kind of proves the point if you think of everything.
It doesn't prove any point.
But would it be all right if I use the company card to get some gas? I seem to have run out.
Work at the bank.
Yeah, no, you don't have a company card. We haven't issued you one, and you've made no point.
Shit. Okay, guess I'll.
Yo, that beer not camera. How much it worth?
All right.
Yo, let's beat this hoagie up.
I think that's enough. All right, it is my favorite day of the week, Chat Thursday here from Mug Club members. But after today's show, let it never be said that we here did not take a risk. Share if you can. That's what the YouTube algorithm favors. And comment your thoughts below. I've talked with a lot of people about this, and you know what? There are far more of you out there than you think. And the left will say, do you mean racist? No. I mean anti-racists. You racist sons of bitches and just bitches. So YouTube, piss off.